Husband's affair with an older neighbor. The first thing I felt was the cold of the tile seeping through my bare feet as I stood in the hallway, listening to my husband whisper another woman's name into the phone like a prayer he didn't want God to hear. Not mine. The house was dark except for the soft blue glow spilling from a kitchen. Midnight had settled into the walls, thick and watchful. I should have been asleep. I was supposed to be asleep. But something, an itch under the skin, a pressure behind the ribs, had pulled me out of bed when I noticed his side was still warm and empty. "Tomorrow," he murmured, voice low, careful. "I promise." I pressed my palm to the wall to steady myself. My heart wasn't racing yet. It was doing something worse, slowing, as if bracing for impact. I told myself it was work. I told myself I was paranoid. I told myself marriage required trust, and trust required swallowing discomfort whole and pretending it didn't burn on the way down. When he ended the call and turned, his face nearly collided with mine. His eyes widened, then softened too quickly, like a man rehearsed in forgiveness. "You scared me," he said, forcing a laugh. "So did you," I replied, surprised by how calm my voice sounded. He stepped closer, kissed my forehead, smelled like mint and something floral I'd known. "Go back to bed." I did. That was my first betrayal to myself. Over the next few weeks, the red flags arrived quietly. Later evenings. Shorter tempers. His phone face down, always face down. When I asked, he said, "You're imagining things." When I pushed, he said, "Do you want to ruin what we have over nothing?" Nothing is a powerful word. It shrinks your instincts until they feel childish. The neighbor came next. Marianne lived 2 houses down, a widow with silver hair and an effortless confidence that came from surviving things. She waved often, smiled too long. Once, while we chatted over the fence, she touched my husband's arm and said, "You're a good man." "I can tell." I laughed it off. Age makes people harmless, we tell ourselves. Age makes them invisible. But sometimes age just means experience. The night it all collapsed, rain hammered the roof like it was trying to get inside. My husband said he was running to the store. He didn't take his wallet. Minutes stretched. Then hours. I drove. Marianne's porch light was on. His car was in her driveway. I sat there longer than I want to admit, fingers locked around the steering wheel, watching the windows glow and dim like breathing. When I finally knocked, my hand shook so badly I had to brace it with the other. He opened the door barefoot, shirt undone, guilt written so clearly across his face it almost felt merciful. Behind him, Marianne stood wrapped in a robe that wasn't fully closed. Her eyes met mine without apology. Only sadness. That hurt more than shame would have. "I can explain," he said. I laughed then. A sharp, broken sound. "No," I said. "You can't." Inside, the house smelled like lavender and wine. Evidence everywhere. 2 glasses, a jacket I'd folded that morning now draped over her chair like it belonged there. "It wasn't about age," he said desperately. "It was about feeling seen. And I don't see you." My voice cracked at last. "You do," he whispered. "That's the problem." Something shifted then. Not shattered, clarified. I left without screaming, without throwing anything. Dignity felt like the only thing still mine. Weeks passed. Silence became a language. He sent messages full of regret, explanations soaked in self-pity. I didn't reply. Then the twist came, cruel and precise. I was packing when I found the envelope, tucked behind old insurance papers. A letter addressed to him, from Marianne, dated months before the affair supposedly began. She'd known. About me. About our marriage. About his weaknesses. She'd written about loneliness like an invitation, about understanding men who felt trapped in quiet lives. He hadn't stumbled into betrayal. He'd been groomed by it, and he'd welcomed the attention like a drowning man grabbing the wrong hand. I confronted him one last time, letter in hand. He read it slowly, face draining of color. "I didn't realize how far back it went," he said. "I thought I chose it." "You did," I replied. "Just not alone." He lost everything for a moment's comfort. But the truth was worse. He didn't just betray me. He let someone study our marriage like a weakness and opened the door himself. As I closed it behind me for the final time, I realized the most painful part wasn't the affair. It was knowing how easily he could be convinced I wasn't enough by someone who was never innocent, just patient.